So I just finished an interview earlier where I was sharing the progress that has happened in the evolution really, that has happened in my life ever since I started, or I have encountered the world of energy system, energy centers and stuff like that. Ever since I've been tapping into that, the changes that have happened in my life since I have really encountered that world, if you want to say it like that. And I thought, why not make a video where I share all of that with you? And so in this video, I'm going to share with you how and why tapping into your own energetic system might be beneficial for you when it comes to manifestation of joy, of love, of fulfillment, right? Or even finding fulfillment in your life. Why is that important and how can it help you? Stay tuned. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm so glad you found us. My name is Yolessa. I am the founder of Be's a Love Story, community of more than 6,000 and plus members now. On this channel, or even in my community, what I really share is how to tap into our own bioenergy, into cosmic energy for manifestation of joy, love, laughter, fulfillment and growth in life and also in business. And so if that sounds interesting to you, make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when I post a new video. So a few years ago, when my youngest son was about 4 years old or so, now he's 16, he was going through a really rough time actually. The really rough time that he was going through was really withdrawing from the world, like really literally checking out of our physical world here. So what did it look like? It looked really like when I would drop him in school, he really liked being in his own world. He wouldn't mingle with the other kids, and even at home he didn't like being touched at all. He was very sensitive to energy and the energy around him, and back then I didn't know, of course now I know, and the only way he knew how to really deal with it is to really check out, right? To really literally like remove himself from, it looked like, from this physical realm. Of course I didn't know it back then. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how I personally encountered the world of energy first, and then I'll move forward to how it works, right? How it works into changing your life, into really changing, bringing more joy, more love, more abundance, more fulfillment into your life, and how it did that for me, right? And how it can do the same for you. And so for me, how it started was it was when my son was about 3-4 years old. He was about 4 years old, and he was in pre-kindergarten, preschool, and back then for me he was like, you know, like as a mom, for me he was like the perfect little boy. But what I noticed personally, even before anybody said anything to me, was that he really didn't like being touched. He really didn't like his space being invaded, if you want to say that, right? Back then I didn't know, but now I know it's because he was so sensitive to energy, to everybody's energy. But like he didn't, I remember this, I remember that back then I would say, can I hug you, Neil? And he'll be like, but I already hugged you like 4 days ago, what do you need another hug for? He really didn't like people touching him. This is something that I noticed. We noticed at home before he even started going to school. And then when he started going to school, one thing that we noticed was, I was the one that would drop him at school most of the time, but when I'll drop him, I'll notice that he will literally find himself, he had this little favorite corner of his, and he'll really like, it was almost like he'll shrink into that favorite corner of his. He will stay in that corner, and oftentimes when I'll come back hours later to pick him up, he would still be in that little corner. I thought it was very strange. I thought it was very strange that he didn't really like mingling with the other kids. And that was at the beginning, and then it actually started getting worse to the point where sometimes the teachers didn't really know how to manage him. The teachers didn't really know how to deal with him. And sometimes, because sometimes they would try to really make him, right? They were doing the best that they could. They really were doing the best that they could. They would try to really make him for kind of, like encourage him to mingle with the other kids. And once that will get into that space, he will become kind of like throwing chairs around and stuff like that. And we became very worried about every time we'll be called to come pick up your son. He did this, he did that. And we became very worried. And we were told that we needed to get him tested. Of course, we got him tested. Lots of big words came up. And that year, it just so happened that we were going back to my native country, our native country, Togo. And one of my mom's friends, who is very much into the energy world, said to us, "There's nothing wrong with your son," right? He said to her, "There's nothing." And he's like, "But everybody said there's something wrong with him." And he's like, "No, the real thing that's going on with your son right now is because he is so sensitive to the energy around him, and the energy around him is so chaotic. It's so all over the place, and he really can't handle the energy around him. And the only way he's finding to be able to manage this is by checking out, by literally just checking out." And I'm like, oh my God, all the big specialists in the US said that, oh yeah, at least they agreed upon that. He is checked out. Your son is checked out. And so my mom's friend said, if you actually make sure that you make your home space, the energy in the home space, safe enough for him, right? Safe enough for him, then he knows that even when he goes out into the world, there is a safe space for him to come back to. But right now, the way that you are, it feels chaotic everywhere. Even when he is at home, it is chaotic. Even when he's outside of the home, it's chaotic. And he doesn't know where to go. So it's kind of like he needs some place to kind of refuge, or like to find a space, safe space for him to be, so that he can kind of recoup before he goes back into the world. And so he says what really needs to happen is for you to change your energy, right? For you, when you change your energy, you'll change him. You'll change your space. It will literally make him feel like coming back out. Literally, what it felt like, what he was explaining is that he's in this world. It's like a turtle. The turtle will pick out his head, but come with like really go back in if he feels like it's not safe enough. And my son was going back into his shell all the time because he felt like it wasn't safe enough energetically, safe enough for him to be out here. And so that's how my journey, really our journey together really began. And so from there, of course, I was coming back to the United States. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to figure this out? Nobody can teach me all these things in the US. And my mom's friend said, don't worry, just ask the universe, ask, and you will be guided to the space or the place or to the teacher that will teach you exactly what you need to learn, which is exactly how I encountered my teacher's trainings. It's so magically. I'm not going to share that story here today because it'll make this video way too long, but it was so magical, like literally. That's how I knew it was no accident. That's how I knew, like, I was literally guided to finding my teacher's trainings. And so that's how it started. And from then, I literally really started learning about energy centers in my body. I literally started, learning about what my energy is, like what is my energy, and really realizing that just like the earth, for example, has an energy field. I have an energy field. My son has an energy field. My husband has his energy field and all that. And our energy fields are really it's really kind of like a result of what's happening inside of our energetic system, right? And the condition of our energetic system, which means and I also learned, I'm going to really summarize it here. I also learned a lot about meridian channels in our body. Meridian channels being really the pathway for energy in our body. If they are blocked, energy doesn't flow very well. Literally, this determines how bright your energy field will be, how complete, or how the condition of our energy. And everybody feels it. Everybody, how sometimes you can be around somebody if their energy is dark, even though you may not necessarily see with your own two eyes that this person's energy is dark. You can feel it, right? That's because we can feel each other's energy. We can feel each other's auras. We can feel each other's energy fields. And sometimes, you can notice this. So when my energy is bright, when I open up all my energy centers, and when I activate my and again my energy centers, or open up my energy, my meridian channels, and brighten up my energy, my aura, and brighten up my my energy field. People want to be around me, right? People you are more pleasant, you are more brighter, right? People naturally tended to want to be around you, which is, I always say for me, one of my biggest secrets of growth in my business is brightening up my energy field, brightening up my aura. Why? Because that literal, whether people know it or not, it really naturally all of us as human beings, in my humble opinion, naturally all of us are attracted to light. All of us are attracted to brightness, right? So the brighter you can make your energy field, the more people who want to be around you, the more opportunities you have to share yourself, the more, if you are in business, for example, the more opportunity you have to make a difference in people's lives. And when my energy field is shrunken and dark, I can feel it in what kind of results. It's so magical, it's so crazy actually, right? It's almost unbelievable unless you experience this for yourself. And so when my energy shrinks, I can see it in the kind of results that I get in my business. When my energy field shrinks and becomes not so bright, I can even feel it in the way that I take action, right? The way that I take action is completely different. Sometimes I may even be a little bit more sluggish, for example. But when my energy field is bright, when I have really worked on opening up my meridian channels, when I have really worked on really activating and brightening up my energy centers in my body, and I'm so vibrant, I take action, I feel so much more inspired into my actions, and my actions actually give more result, because then my magnetic power is much stronger. And so that's the part that I wanted to share with you about why this works so well. Now, what impacts, right? This is another part that I wanted to share with you. What impacts the condition of your magnetic field? What impacts the condition of your aura? What impacts the condition of your energy, period, right? What kind of elements in the world or in your world can impact your energy field to the point where it can become darker, it can shrink, it can even have like holes in it. And when it's in that condition, we are more susceptible to, for example, things coming from outside really hitting us, right? Emotions, for example, we can become very, very much more emotional and stuff like that. It's so funny and it's so amazing that it's really biological also, that it's all about this body, it's all inside of this body. But what causes that condition is our mind, the way that we think, right? The way that we are conditioned, right? The lenses through which we see life. That's what creates either stagnant energy in our body, creates blockages in our body, creates the condition, whether it's bright or whether it is it is shrunken or darker and stuff like that. It's not about being a good person or being a bad person, really. It's really about really attaining to the condition of our body, our energy in our body. And so all of us, in my opinion, go through phases because we are conditioned in one way or another, where I always look at it as we have two parts of who we are. We have our conditioned part, which is not really our true self, but it's really our conditioned things that we learned growing up, things that we may even, information that we may even be carrying in our DNA, for example, from past ancestors, from our parents, our grandparents and stuff like that, from even people in our families we may not even have met before. And then we have this other part of ourselves, the brightest part of who we are, right? The brightest part of who we are, which in my opinion is our connection to the universe itself, right? Which is also our true self. I call it our true self. My teacher calls it our true self also, which is our true self, our true essence, right? From that perspective, it's almost like being connected to universe, not almost, it's really being connected to universal consciousness from that space, right? So we have that part of who we are, and we have our conditioned part, right? Our conditioned part, that's really the part of who we are that's creating conflict, emotional conflict in our lives quite often, which also creates, by the way, blockages in our body. And then this other part is pure love, pure understanding, pure courage, pure acceptance, right? Pure light, pure brightness, right? But because we have all these two parts of ourselves, which is why I personally do these energy exercises because on a regular basis we have a lot of things that hit us. When I do these energy exercises, they not only open up our meridian channels, brighten up my energy center, make my aura brighter, not only that, it makes me feel more connected to my true essence, more connected, make me feel deep connection to my true self, aka universal consciousness. And so from that space, I can actually ride the wave of that, the brightest part of who I am, to find courage in my work, to find acceptance when I need to, right? Whenever I feel like I'm being judgmental of somebody, it's because there's a disconnect between who I'm being at the moment and that brightest part of who I am. And my only job, right, at that moment is, reconnect. And how do you reconnect? Is through energy, is through awakening that connection, or that senses, that energetic sense between like my body and my mind and my body. And that is really why it has changed my life, right? It has helped me change a lot of my story. It has helped me break a lot of cycles in my life, right? Literally, that's how I was able to. It literally helps you rewrite new stories for yourself, not only for yourself, but also for your children and for your children's children. And so you can break cycles like that. Only, in my humble opinion, when we can really connect to that brightest power of ourselves, which really becomes really our strength, right? Even though we may be going through a really rough time because of our conditioning, connecting to that part of who we are can help us really focus on one vision, focus on how we want to change, how we want to change for ourselves, how we want to change for our kids, how we want our story to change, so that we can actually focus on that, riding the wave of our true sense, the brightest part of who we are, to create a new story for us. That's how I have, and I'm not saying I have changed all the stories, right? Sometimes this is the beauty of life. When something comes up and it's uncomfortable, that's the moment for me, that's the opportunity for me to say, oh, this is happening. Oh, it's probably because of XYZ that may have happened, that I may have experienced, that I may have picked up here and there in my life. Is this how I want it to be? If it's not, how do I want it to be instead? Then I focus on that instead. I imagine it. Oh, this is how I want it to be. What needs to change inside of me? What kind of information do I have to be carrying, right? What do I know about this that is different than what my true essence knows? What does my true essence, my true being, right? Universal consciousness, what does that part of me know? The brightest part of me. What does that part of me know that I am not believing in right now because of my conditioning? And when I discover, and of course to discover that, you have to what? Connect it to your true essence. This is where the energy exercises come in, right? Connect to your true essence, connect to your true self, your true being, right? The brightest part of who you are. Find the answer from there. And then from there, decide, how do I want it to be instead? I want to feel courageous. I want to feel my true self. I want to feel more hopeful. I want to feel blah, blah, blah. I want to create this instead. Instead of this that's happening because of maybe cycles that keep being repeated in my family, for example. How do I want to fix to break that cycle? When I break that cycle, what does that look like? And oh, this is how I really want to look, even though that's not how it is now. This is how I want it to be. And then I ask myself, what needs to change? What needs to change for this to be my new reality? What needs to change energetically? What needs to change emotionally? What patterns need to change in my life for me to create that new reality? And once again, keep riding the wave of the brightest part of who I am, which means awakening that part of who I am on a regular basis while I focus on the new reality, the new information that I want to create, right? I want to create in my life. That's how the energy world, how tapping into my energy has literally changed my life, has broken a lot of the cycles that I have seen, patterns that I have seen prior to my generation, that I have broken, that we have broken together for the future generation. And I know there is a lot more to be had. The point here is to get closer and closer and closer to the true being that I have within me, to the brightest part of who I am. And that's the beauty, in my humble opinion, of life. That's the beauty of life, which is why now when I get challenges that pop up in my life, I actually get excited. Even though it might get scary sometimes, I get excited because I know that what that means is that there is growth, right? There is more awakening, more awareness in front of or behind that challenge that I have in front of me right now. And so that's what I wanted to share with you today. It's really my own personal story. There's so many different layers to it, but this is as much as I could share without making this video like 24 hours. And so please tell me in the comments below, was this story helpful to you? Did you find inspiration in it? Is it inspiring you to go on your own quest? Right? Is it inspiring you to really tap deeper into your true knowing, your true essence, the brightest part of who you are. I hope it did, because that's the reason why I share these videos with you. So if you are wondering, how do I start? How do I, if you're watching this and you're like, I don't even know how to do this. I don't know how to tap into my own energy. I don't know how to open up my meridian channels. I don't know how to accumulate energy. I don't know how to use energy for manifestation and stuff like that. I actually have a group, which up until now I haven't talked much about this group publicly. It's called the Energy Immersion Circle, and I can say it's safe to say, it is safe to say for me that it is one of the proudest things that I have done in my life, because when I see the transformation that happens with or that has happened with the members of the group, it just makes me really, like, my heart open so deeply and so much, and it makes me so proud actually to have carried this group for, we've been doing this for about what, a year and a half now. It's been really incredible. And that Energy Immersion Circle and the retreat that I run in Sedona, those two are, I can literally say, the proudest moments, the proudest things that I feel that I have done on this earth. I'm proud of a lot of things. I'm proud of my kids, I'm proud of my family, I'm proud of, but I can safely say that these two, like, they just, like, running these two, like the event and also Energy Immersion Circle, just because of the transformation that I have seen that it has created in the participants' lives, and also in my own life. And so if you are interested in learning more about it and knowing more about it, or joining us, I'll put a link below this video. You can check it out, and perhaps you might be our new member, right? Anyways, so that's it for this video. Share with me your takeaway from this video. Share with me in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Talk to you soon. Bye.